Okay, let's get going. Let's do our presentation. Let's show them what we got. Not yet. Here I go again, slowing you down. I want you to remember the number ones that are vital whenever you're doing any form of sales. Then again, I think the number ones are vital in life. Whenever you're encountering another person, please remember the first number one that I think should be almost tattooed into your brain. The number one radio station in the city you live in is not the one you think it is. And if you've ever seen me do a live sales presentation or training, I always refer back to the number one radio station that everybody's listening to is WIIFM. By the way, if you're watching this on the West Coast, west of the Mississippi, we know your call letters of your radio station start with the letter K. However, I want you to envision it as WIIFM. And it's an acronym for a very essential part of any form of sales, which is your customers thinking, what's in it for me? Let me say that again. That's all they're concerned about. They don't give a hoot and a holler about the awards you may have won, the research and data that you've brought with you, the various pieces of information and why you've got the best products in sliced bread. What they're thinking about is what's in it for them. And what's essential in this process goes beyond that. You need to connect the dots because they're too busy in their brain to do it for you, which is why I want you to think of the second number one that is critical in any form of sales. And that is remembering the number one laundry detergent everybody's using. And everybody, all of your potential prospects is using FAB. Well, it's another acronym. And we'll dissect it for you. It stands for the three different stages you need to go through as you're figuring out what's in it for them. You're going to take a feature and attach it to an advantage and then attach it to a benefit. Feature, advantage, benefit. FAB. So let me put it in perspective for you. Let's assume that you are pitching, let's say, an entertainment-related business, like a restaurant. A blend of media that looks like this, a 2x5 ad, full color each week in the paper, let's say, and you're going to put it in the highly read, award-winning entertainment section, and you're going to offer them 13 weeks of media, thus giving them a discounted rate. In your brain, that's the feature. And if you say it that way to them, they're not going to connect the dots. They're not going to see the benefit to them. You're discussing an actual feature. As good as it sounds to you, it may not be as good to them. So I want you to rearrange it in your brain a little and then first connect it to the advantage. What I mean by the advantage is the advantage to this potential prospect. So let's get those words to stand out. Full color means it's going to be seen, right? It's going to stand out among all the other content on the page. That's why you're suggesting color. There's the advantage. Highly read, award-winning means it's got readers, right? And these readers are targeted. They expect quality content, am I right, about entertainment. So again, I want you to push it towards the advantage. And finally, 13 weeks means the rate's cheaper, right? But beyond that, this added frequency of exposure means more results. And we've discussed that in previous modules. The average human being in North America is influenced by over 5,000 advertising messages a day. There's a logo everywhere you turn, on every cup you're drinking, on every hat that someone's wearing or shirt. Everywhere you look on a truck, there's a sign, and with all that clutter, frequency equals results. And then finally, let's move it to the final benefit. Let's take those three elements and bring it down and connect the dots in the mind of this prospect so they see the benefit. I mean, basically now you're saying, when I'm targeting someone who is apt to read this killer content, they're looking for dinner. This is your potential customer, and they won't miss your standout message. Am I right? And you can now save money as you do this cost effectively. Remember, save money, a return on investment, cost effective. That's what people are looking for. So whenever you put together your features, and I mean that, I want you to list them for me. I want you to take out a piece of paper to practice this exercise. I've done this hundreds of times, and I've trained people to do this. Put a line down the page, show the feature, and then attach it to the benefit, all the way to the end. And make sure that when you do it, you're doing it so you can see what's in it for them. Too many times we brag on ourselves and forget to discuss what's in it for them. That's critical. So once again, remember, when you've got a feature, put it towards the benefit to them. Now, there's a famous sales trainer. Takes you back to the 30s. This guy was considered the number one salesman on the planet back in the Depression. His name was Elmer Wheeler. You may not remember him, but in a moment you'll remember one of his most famous quotes. He wrote a book, though, called Tested Sentences That Sell. And many companies back in the 1930s hired him to come up with the words in all those famous ads that were in Life magazine and on the old radio stations of then. And believe it or not, he tested over 100,000 phrases for some of these companies. But I think he summed it up best. Whenever you think of Elmer Wheeler, I want you to think of one of the best phrases I've ever heard when you're connecting a feature to an advantage and benefit. Elmer said, whenever you're selling the steak, don't sell the steak, sell the sizzle.